Can't see it.
Hey, Adrian.
Subscribe to you?
Okay, so hold on a second, y'all. We got to reshare this link. And we have to say bye to Jenny. Unfortunately, it took us so long for the stream to go live that Jenny is out of time, unfortunately.
It's okay. Can I say my
yes.
little, I mean, I don't know.
It's all you. Go.
I will just say, I know, but if I don't get to gush for like at least a couple seconds, I'm just going to crash my car or something. I mean, I think everyone loved this episode. This is like, I went into a Star Wars like bender this weekend after watching this episode. I was saying earlier, like, it's so beautiful, start to beginning. I was literally on the edge of my seat. Like, I mean that literally, like butt at the edge of the couch. It was so beautiful. Oh, and quick thing I learned reading online, that opening scene was an homage to Bryce Dallas Howard's father, the opening scene of Apollo 13. Which I didn't notice when I was watching it, but I thought that was interesting. I want to write Bryce Dallas Howard a love letter and a thank you letter handwritten by me, because this just was the most beautiful episode from start to finish. I literally yelped out loud when Bo-Katan came on, and I was watching it with my dad, who he like loves Star Wars, but he hasn't seen any of the cartoons, so he was literally just like, what did I like? I had to pause it and explain to him some of the like. So I was just like, and he was just like, what's happening? What's happening? Yeah. So I don't know. I loved that world. I thought it was Mon Calamari at first when they first.
Yeah, me too.
And I was really excited to see that, but not mad at all that it's a different planet. It's Trask. The planet itself was beautiful. I'm obsessed. I hope we go back there. It like I could smell the salt water. Like it was so visceral. I loved that the Mon Calamari was wearing like a cable knit sweater. Like there were so many details. Yeah, and I think so many beautiful shots, and it totally redeemed last week. I'm not even mad about it. I love the frog people now. I thought that was really sweet. I teared up when she hugged her husband. I don't know. That's all I can gush about in 30 seconds ago. But
oh no. She fell into the...
I think we're losing her. Oh no.
This has been such a comedy of errors with the technical glitches tonight. There, she's back. We got you back, Jenny.
Oh, I was gone? Oh. And then before I go, I know I told him I was going to give a plug, though, because I have an Etsy shop, and I've been doing a bunch of, like, nerdy Star Wars, Marvel Comics themed, they're candle holders and pottery, but, like, this is one, I know a lot of people hate the sequels, but, like, you put a candle in here, and it lights up these scenes from Star Wars, a bunch of Force lightning. Awesome. This little planter I did with Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy. Wow. And I'm unemployed, and this is what I've been doing with my free time. So it's called Jenny Marie, Jennie, Marie, Marie, Studio on Instagram and Etsy. And I do commissions if there's like a particular nerdy thing you want. I love doing custom commissions. I've been doing some Mandalorian ones and all Star Wars or Marvel, all of it. So thank you. Sorry, let me...
That was awesome.
I gotta go.
All right. So good to see you, Jenny. Sorry we spent all your free time trying to get the stream to work.
I know.
This was not wasted. I got to talk to you guys about Clone Wars and Rebels for an hour. I was having a grand old time. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll watch this later when I get back.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jenny.
Okay,
we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now let me resize this for two people.
Right as we got things working.
I'm really flustered. That was so frustrating. I'm sorry, everybody. Oh my god, I actually started setting up for this stream at 4 p.m. I double checked everything, make sure it was all working, and then when we tried to go live at 6:30, everything crashed. Like the program just kept crashing over and over. I finally got it to work, and then didn't realize that it wasn't going live to the right place on YouTube. So I think we were live a couple times and it just wasn't showing up because it went to the wrong place. So we're finally here. I'm very flustered. But anyway, welcome to Star Wars Club. We got to see Jenny for just a quick minute there. I am, of course, Jesse Mercury. I'm here with B. Russell. Hello, B.
Hey.
And Jane Smith, how are you, Jane?
And I am excited to talk about this episode.
I can hear you, but your face is frozen.
Oh, come on! All right, I switched networks a couple of times on our Wi-Fi, trying to make it better, and I think I made it worse. So,
well, it's working enough. At this point, I'll take anything we can get. And let's say hi to the people in chat. Let's see. Sam says, I was really impressed with the casting for Bo-Katan, and I recognized her immediately. Then I found out the actress is the same person. Yes, so that is Katie Sackhoff. She did play Bo-Katan in the show, in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, and then also now in live action, which is so exciting. And I'm a huge fan of Katie Sackhoff. I've loved her for years, since Battlestar Galactica, Another Life, her Netflix show. She's phenomenal. And seeing her live action in Star Wars is amazing. We're definitely going to talk all about it. Adrian says, I say this episode was 9 out of 10. Only nitpick is shorter than episode 1 and 2. I totally agree. That is my big nitpick as well. Super Hamster says, I didn't want the episode to end. Yeah, it was so short. I was like, please keep going. I want more. Jamacion, this is the best thing on Disney Plus. Absolutely. So true. Super Hamster likes the sequels, which is, I'm curious how many people in chat like the sequels. Raise your hands. Let's see. Oh, Jamacion says, I wonder if the storyline of The Mandalorian will eventually tie directly into the events of Force Awakens. What do you guys think about that?
I was actually thinking the same thing as I was watching this newest episode. I was like, I wonder what we're going to see through Mandalorian. It's going to be little clues into like the New Order, like because like they went down with the ship, and he's like, long live the Empire. I was like, oh, so there's going to be some holdouts. Like maybe this is the beginning of what we see in episode 7, and that made me very excited. So I would not be mad at that.
I think they're definitely gonna tie as much together as possible. Like we even saw when they were at the docks, the repurposed AT-ATs as like shipping container cranes.
Yeah.
Any opportunity that they have to just be like, hey nerds, you know what this is. We're just gonna throw it in the background and see if you notice. I think they're definitely gonna take us there.
Yeah, I was thinking about the New Order during this episode because the Empire we saw in this episode was just like 100%, original trilogy Empire, and it was so good and so well done.
Uniforms and everything. Yeah,
but it was also like just thinking about how the Clone Wars, because I've been binging the Clone Wars cartoons, thinking about how that kind of bridges the prequel trilogy, and then kind of bringing in some of the elements from the original trilogy, and kind of making the prequel trilogy feel a little bit more like Star Wars in a way that I love. I really hope that The Mandalorian does that with the New Order and with the new sequel trilogy. I really hope they kind of bridge that gap more than they have so far. I'd be really excited about that. All right, we got more.
I feel like
sorry, go ahead, B.
No, it's all good. I just feel like we're getting the breadcrumbs, and I'm just like I want, I cannot wait for more. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Because it's like, I felt like this was like a nerd's dream. Like this entire episode, it was just so, and every shot, there was just something that triggered a memory or, was part of different parts of the canon. And it was just like an overwhelmingly wonderful episode. It was just felt like an amazing meal.
Yes.
Of so many things. And it's like, what do I even talk about first? But yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it, B. What is your review of The Heiress, episode 3 of season 2 of The Mandalorian?
So if I'm rating it, I would definitely say 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I loved it from beginning to end. Like from the horrible landing of the Razor Crest when they like fell into the water. And then you see the Mandalorian like right after like just falls into the water. Like this ship, like what is going to become of the Razor Crest after all of this?
Yeah, is it even like the same ship at this point?
I know. Jesse in chat says he needs a new ship. It's falling apart at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be flying anymore. You shouldn't be flying in that. That's not safe.
That's not safe.
And like,
yeah, it made me nervous.
Like the netting in the bridge. It's just like, what did you actually fix? Like, string attached. Like, oh my God, like that. The Razor Crest. Like, and I was so glad that Baby Yoda didn't eat any more little tadpoles.
Yes.
I was so nervous when we left him to be babysat. Like, y'all better watch him. He about to eat all your babies. From like the meeting, like seeing the Quarren and like being on it, like having a piratey moment on their ship, like to the way that the Mandalorian, the way that Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorians entered into the scene, like it was just so epic. It was like every scene where they entered, it was just like boom, like it was just the energy shifted, and it was just like, and it's like, oh yeah, they're good at killing. It's like, yeah, they are. Like y'all ain't gonna see it coming. Like you about to get beat. Like you didn't have no chance. And I loved to like how. I just love the Mandalorian's acting choice, even in the voice and the physicality. Anytime so far in the season we've seen Mandalorians take their helmets off. He thinks that, oh, I found part of my tribe, and then they take off their helmets, and it's like, damn, again, y'all be taking those helmets off? Like, this ain't the way, y'all. Like, why you take off your helmet?
Yeah.
But I was glad because it's like you are very much a part of a very specific group of Mandalorians. And for me personally, I kind of fell in love with the Mandalorian story through Clone Wars. So I love how we're piecing it together because so far everything is consistent. And I think that's because Dave Filoni is a part of all of it. Like he was the supervising director and executive director over Clone Wars and Rebels. So there's this beautiful like storytelling that we're seeing where the lore is all making sense. Like, and for me as a fan, like that's what I love. I love putting the puzzle pieces together of like, oh yeah, because I know this part of the canon, I'm so much more excited when these characters come into the story or when certain things happen that just make complete sense. So obviously I don't want to take up too much space, but like those are some of the things I loved most.
Yeah, I love it.
About this episode.
What about you, Jane? What do you think of this one?
I agree. 10 out of 10. It was a beautiful episode, start to finish. And even though it was short, it was like, what, 37 minutes, I think?
Which is so short. I know, it's so short.
But they crammed so much into every single little moment. Like Jenny was saying right before she left, yeah, the opening scene being an homage to Apollo 13 was beautiful. I loved it. And it made me think, what was the order of the writing for the episodes for this season? Like, did they say, all right, Bryce Dallas Howard, you're gonna get this awesome episode that everybody's gonna love, but how are we gonna get you there? Like, if you're gonna start this opening shot with condensation from the atmosphere collecting on the control panels so that you can replicate this shot from Apollo 13, we got to bust up the ship in the previous episode. So, like, how are we going to get there? I think it was all deliberate. I think every step that they did to get here was beautiful. And yeah, the Razor Crest is so messed up. Like at this point, I'm not even sure how much is original ship. It's been taken apart by Jawas, and it's been crunched in an ice cave, and now it's held together with like netting. Like nets are holding it together in space. It's crazy. So I do confess, for those that don't know, I have not actually watched Clone Wars or Rebels. I've tried it a couple of times and not ever actually gotten into the part where like you're hooked. But watching this episode has given me all the drive to want to go back and watch it again, knowing that there's all this deep backstory, Bo-Katan and Mandalore. I gotta know what's going on now. So I'm gonna catch up. This episode has finally done it for me, and I'm so excited to get a deep dive and get some backstory.
Yeah, this episode was so good, and it was the thing that I love the most about this show is like every week is a different side quest, you know, and sometimes that can be a little frustrating, but this is what I want when the side quest has a little tantalizing bit of lore in it. And we got like the biggest piece of lore this week. Like the whole thing about Mandalorians never taking their helmets off was something that surprised a lot of people when this show started, because anyone who'd seen the Clone Wars or Rebels has seen a whole ton of Mandalorians take their helmets off all the time. Or even the prequels, even though we know, well, we don't really know, but we think that Jango Fett is not a Mandalorian, and Boba Fett not a Mandalorian, and we see Jango take his helmet off, so... but yeah, basically all the other times we've seen Mandalorians, they take their helmets off, except for the show, The Mandalorian, where he never takes his helmet off. And it's such a huge part of his character, and we never really understood why. And to get that this week, like, he's part of this cult, like this religious cult. And I just love that so much, because it makes me think of the Jedi. It makes me think of how the rest of the universe thinks of the Jedi, that they are a religious cult. And then I went down this Clone Wars rabbit hole after watching this episode. I mean, I've been slowly watching the Clone Wars for years, but I watched all of season 5 in a couple of days. And now I'm halfway through season 6. I'm almost there. I'm going to be done with the Clone Wars by the time we see Ahsoka in next week's Mandalorian. And I got to tell you.
Oh, man.
The Clone Wars is like the most frustrating show to watch, because it's like so many bad episodes and so many boring episodes. And then all of a sudden something happens that's like, boom, like punch you in the fucking face with some Star Wars brilliance out of nowhere. And it's so exciting. Like the arc with Ahsoka in season 5 at the end of the season, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So good. And I'm so glad I saw that before next week's episode. I would actually recommend everyone go watch the last like 3 episodes of season 5, even if you've never seen Clone Wars, just to get a taste of Ahsoka, because it was so cool. I mean, it's such a payoff, like this show's so frustratingly boring sometimes for the Clone Wars, and then it's such a big payoff when it gets good. And it really takes its time. It takes its time to really kind of dig into the deep Star Wars mythology and to really feel like Star Wars. But when it does, it knocks it out of the park, and it's so exciting. And then all this stuff about Bo-Katan in season 5, and then seeing Bo-Katan in this episode, and it looks just like her, and it's played by the same actress, and it's like, it's amazing. It's like such a gift for Star Wars fans.
Never happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Not this beautifully, I don't think. Like just seamlessly. Like, yeah, you look like her and you sound like it's all like it. Yeah, it was perfect. And I can see someone from the chat like just talking about the last season of Clone Wars. I was talking about this with Jenny and Jane before we went live, that season 7 of Clone Wars is brilliant.
I'm gonna watch it this week.
Like, Jesse, I cannot wait to talk to you about it, because I actually rewatched it today. Season 7 of Clone Wars, because it is so brilliantly written. And one of my favorite Sith characters is Darth Maul.
Yeah. And
you get some really rich Darth Maul and Savage Opress episodes in season 5, 6, and 7. And it's just like so satisfying. Like it makes me want to cry talking about it. Like it is brilliantly written. The juxtaposition of Order 66. Like it is just, so I cannot wait. If you're enjoying what you've watched so far, I cannot wait for you to see season 7, because it's...
Oh, I'm so excited. And then I'm going to go back and finish Rebels. And I've loved Rebels since the beginning. I think Rebels is a fantastic show all the way through. And I've seen the first 2 seasons and half of the third. And I was like, you know what? I got to finish Clone Wars. I want to know the whole thing before I watch this. So that's why I'm almost done doing at this point. It's almost done with Clone Wars. But yeah, I mean, Dave Filoni has done some really incredible stuff. And I also want to throw some credit to George Lucas, because George Lucas made the Clone Wars cartoons. I think everyone forgets this, is like George Lucas was still making Star Wars all the way through until season 7 of the Clone Wars, which was the one that was just made for Disney Plus. But a lot of the greatness of the Clone Wars cartoons comes from the man himself, which is really cool. But I also feel like maybe a lot of the not so good stuff comes from the man himself, because there's a lot of like episodic Clone Wars. Like the first 3 seasons, you can almost skip every episode and be fine, which is it's too many episodes that you can skip. There's good stuff here and there, but there's just too many skippable episodes. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Dave Filoni in the chat. But okay, I want to talk about this whole idea of Din Djarin being part of this cult of Mandalorians. And they said that he's a child of the Watch. Does that mean Death Watch? Do we think that this is Death Watch?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
I know. That's what I was saying.
They showed
they
showed the symbol on the arms in the flashback episode.
Yeah. I read that.
Where he was rescued. Yeah, we saw it in the Mandalorian, their clan symbol.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, because there's so much. I was going back today, like just reminding myself of like what is now considered canon, because there's so much that is now considered like legends as far as like Mandalorian lore is concerned. But really, like, there's a huge gap between what happens like after the Death Star goes down and like what happens during the Great Purge. That's that whole like part of the Mandalorian story is not super fleshed out for us yet. Like, we know that it was really bad and most Mandalorians died. The planet is not really like habitable anymore, barely. But like, there's, as far as what happens to Death Watch, like after like there's so much infighting and civil war and then the, imperial rule, it's not super clear what happens like after the Republic comes back in power. Like exactly what happens. I know that they scatter and kind of the tribe that we know now in this current Mandalorian is what we like. That's what kind of comes out of that, but we don't really know exactly how it came to be. So I'm excited to see if we'll find out more about the Purge, and exactly what happened in that, because there's just and then like how Bo-Katan lost the Darksaber, because in Clone Wars and Rebels, we know that she's supposedly the last one that has it. And they also confirmed that in this, which made me so excited. I was like, yeah, she was the last one to have it. Like, she was the ruler of Mandalore. She was the Mandalore. So obviously that something happened and she lost it. So like, I want to know what happened.
Yes.
Yeah. I do know a little bit about the backstory of it, because I've been reading things and I've gotten all the spoilers now. But yeah, so it was kind of like
I don't have all the spoilers yet. I don't have all the spoilers yet. I'm gonna have them within like a week or two, because I'm watching this stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I don't want to spoil anything.
Sorry, I broke it.
There's a certain way that the Darksaber is supposed to pass from owner to owner.
Okay.
And like, this episode confirmed that could not have happened because of things that we saw in this episode. So it's like, well, then how did Moff Gideon get it?
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to explore the story of what happened there.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure it happened in the Purge. Like, it had to have happened, because that's where Din Djarin does recognize him. Like, he recognizes him when we see him in season 1. And that's, I mean, he had to have gotten it during that time, because that's when they were most vulnerable. Is that in between time between when Imperial rule was failing and the Republic was coming back. So it's the sad thing about the Mandalorian story is that it's all civil war. Like, even when they finally get their planet back, the back and forth of them getting their planet back into the ruling hands of a true Mandalorian, then they start fighting amongst themselves. So it's like, they never stop fighting. But yeah, I'm curious to see just really what Moff Gideon's role was in all of it.
Yeah, and I love this style of storytelling where they kind of give us these tantalizing bits that don't quite line up with what we know about the past, which means that something has happened to change it. And then they're going to slowly unravel those mysteries while also continuing to move forward in the timeline, which is thrilling. I love it. And also, Jenny is in the chat. Jenny Krantz. She says, I'm just getting to my brother's, but I've been listening to this on my drive. So even though I'm not there in person anymore, I feel like a Force ghost.
She's a blue glowy looking over us.
You're all sparkly glowy. So what I love the most about this revelation that Din Djarin is part of this, sort of extremist cult of Mandalorians, is that this opens up the possibility that maybe he will change the way, like, this is the way, is such a rigid thing for him. But now that he realizes that there are other Mandalorians who maybe have honor and are good Mandalorians as well, that take their helmets off, maybe it will start to change his opinions and change his beliefs. And it gives you this opportunity to tell this story about someone with fundamentalist beliefs learning how to let go and live more in the world. and see that other people's points of view can be valid as well. And that is such a beautiful story. And if that's where this is going, I'm just like so overjoyed, because Star Wars doesn't always go into the, you know, the social of it all. Like Star Trek is always about social politics and, you know, the betterment of society. But Star Wars is just like action and fun and a lot of spirituality and the Force and all that. But it doesn't necessarily get into like society and social issues. And if this show is going to do that, even if it's in this one way, and it's sort of a subtle way that's not hitting you over the head with it, it's just kind of showing a character with fundamentalist beliefs, who we all really like, because he's an amazing character. And if his beliefs kind of change over time, it's just such an opportunity to tell an incredible story. And I'm stoked. Yes, Joe, we finally got it working. It was a hard hour there. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I completely agree. And I feel like they've already been showing that he is malleable, I guess, for lack of a better term, because even the fact that he took Baby Yoda, you know, like the fact that it couldn't just be a job for him. You know, like he morally couldn't leave that creature in the hands of those people. Like I feel like that was the first kind of example of us seeing a piece of his character. Like it can't just be a job for him anymore. Like, you know, there's certain things that reveal, I think, what his overall arc will be once, you know, whenever this is finished. But I thought the same thing. I was like, are we gonna see Pedro Pascal's face?
Yeah.
I was like, are we gonna see his face? I want to see his face again. Like I'm super excited about that. Like, want to see his face.
Yeah, we got to get there. We might get there. This show might turn into that, where he takes his helmet off regularly. They absolutely have opened a pathway to that.
I think that's such a beautiful path that they've decided to go down. And I'm so excited. So apparently my video's been frozen for a couple minutes, and I swapped networks again, and hopefully it's a little bit better now. So
looking great now. Awesome.
Let me know.
You're moving, girl.
Yeah.
I see you.
I'm here. And so with that, I think it's probably a good time to introduce someone else to the chat.
Yes.
And I want everybody to welcome New Edition.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God. It's like the real deal.
I know. All right, so it's got a really cool little thing on the bottom, but I'm gonna take him off the stand.
Oh, it's so cute. I saw this on your Facebook, and I was so excited.
Oh, baby, yeah. He's got feet.
Don't let him near your eggs.
I know.
No
way. I know, and I don't know if you can see, but he's got like really expressive eyeballs. I don't know if the light in here is good enough for it. And he's got this little, he's got like little peach fuzz.
Oh my God.
Top of his head. Look at his little hair.
Oh, it's so cute.
Okay. So yeah, this apparently took 9 months to get here. Ryan ordered it forever ago. Back in season 1.
I wasn't sure if it took 9 months or if that was a joke about like we had a new baby.
Exactly.
Both. It was both because it took so long. There's this little hand.
Oh my God, I love it.
It took so long to get here. It was over 9 months, I think.
I'm so bummed that COVID is happening and I can't come over and play with your baby Yoda.
I know. He's like perfectly sized for just walking around with, or they just put him in like a little baby carrier or something, walk down the street. So this is Sideshow Collectibles did this.
Wow.
And they just did an exquisite job. And this little guy has been just the best. So I'm gonna put him right here.
Just saying, if someone wants to get me a birthday gift, I wouldn't mind a baby Yoda.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, and so Adam Savage did an unboxing of his. He got a copy and just goes into all the detail of it. It's so beautiful. So if anybody wants to really nerd out and watch Adam Savage discuss this beautiful little baby. Go check out his videos.
Or Bebe, as they'd say on Schitt's Creek.
Baby. Yeah, the child.
Also, Stitch Spin and Axon Media. Welcome, everybody. What's up, Justin? Jane, we're all very jealous of you. And also, we had show and tell from B earlier. She was drinking some blue milk.
I know.
I couldn't help myself. I literally pretty much finished it. It's also gone. Yeah, I had to drink.
I know. Yeah. If only we'd gotten the stream to work when it was supposed to work. We would have seen some blue milk. Yeah. Okay, so much exciting stuff in this episode. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier that Baby Yoda no longer has a little carrying case because it got destroyed.
I know. Queel made that too. I was so upset when the pod.
Yeah, I thought of Quill immediately.
I know. I was bummed about that.
I thought of Quill immediately. Like
IG-11 first, and now another little carrier crib thing. I can't.
Yeah. Oh my God. Inverse says
all the remnants of the original crew.
Inverse says when people were upset that Baby Yoda ate those eggs, it's like they forgot he might be the most endangered species in the galaxy. That's a very good point. So in order to keep Baby Yoda alive,
really well said.
Is it justifiable to sacrifice some frog people? That's horrible.
But okay, I'm on the fence. I don't feel so bad about it as some people did. They were unfertilized eggs, so like if Frog Lady didn't meet Mr. Frog on Trask, none of the eggs would have been frog people. So
true.
I don't know.
That's true. And Sam says I thought it was the last of the family line, not the species. And Sam, that might be true.
It's not the species.
Yeah, that might be true.
She said the last of my cycles or something. So like she could have 10,000 other little frog babies from earlier in her life,
right?
That we don't know about. This was just her last reproductive cycle before she went into frog menopause or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Menafrog.
Yeah. Frog.
But I was like emotionally very touched when she reunited with Frogman, and I did not expect to feel that way.
Yeah. I know. It was really cute.
Frogapause.
Frogapause. Okay, yes, Justin. Yes. Yeah. So this episode had like no wasted time at all. Like no moments where there wasn't something happening.
Like, bam, bam, bam. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I loved. I mean, this is the type of side quest that I would go on every week. I loved it so much. And the whole battle at the end, the only time we've ever seen anything like that has been in the cartoons, where there's like, 4 Mandalorians battling a whole bunch of stormtroopers. That was amazing. As a lifelong Star Wars nerd, that was just such a satisfying thing to see brought to life.
Yeah.
Absolutely, completely agree with that. Like, I was like Jenny was saying before, like literally butt on the edge of the seat. Like I was just like trying to take in every second of that sequence as they were making their way towards the bridge, and like just laughing at all the every Imperial in that ship, because it rings true with kind of all the silly sequences we've seen in other movies and other content where they're fucked. Like they're not gonna make it. Like like you're gonna die. And like when one of the dudes was like, "Oh, close the doors," like close the doors. Like he was pretending like he was gonna shoot. Like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready for you. I'm ready." And then he saw, he's like, "Oh no, close the doors." Like I can't. Nope, I'm not good enough for this. I'm gonna die. Close those doors, please. I'll just close the doors. And then ask us.
And then they were like, Where did you lock them in?
Yeah.
Oh, the control room? What the fuck?
Oh, it was great. It was so good.
The comedic timing. Like I know it murdered a bunch of people, but the timing of like, you locked them where?
Yeah.
And then they all get sucked out. It was beautiful. Like, yeah, not a moment wasted in this episode. It was all. There was
those two dudes operating the like flying that ship, the Imperial officers flying the ship, and one of them gave like the performance of his life, where like every little movement of his face, like that little British kid. Well, I'm little. Yeah. That British guy who was playing one of those Imperial officers, one of the two that the commander shot. I was bummed that he got shot because I'm like, bring this guy back. This guy is really acting his ass off. And he had that like simpering Imperial officer thing down perfectly. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. His voice cracked. Like he knew what he was like.
Yeah.
Come in. Come in.
Yeah. Yeah, he was awesome. And we saw Moff Gideon for the first time of the season.
Yeah, it was just hologram, but it was right. It was great. We know he's still out there.
Yeah.
With that Darksaber.
Yeah, and getting that connection between
Bo-Katan knows it too.
Yeah, getting the connection between Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan was really exciting. Yeah, like that when she asks Titus Welliver, the guy who played the Imperial officer.
Yeah.
She says, "Does he have it?" And he says, "If you have to ask, you already know," or something like that. So yeah, she basically now knows that Moff Gideon has the Darksaber. And just seeing the canon sort of intertwine with the cartoons was so exciting in a way that, you know, feels like it kind of resonates and matters within the continuity. Like tracking the movements of the Darksaber really feels important, and getting to see that happen in real time with a character from the Clone Wars show was so cool. So well done. I can't imagine how they could have done that better.
I really think it's great that they kept the original voice actress. You never get to see that when things transition from one show to another as it goes along in canon. It's a beautiful moment.
It had me thinking about Ashley Eckstein because there was this fan petition when it was announced that Rosario Dawson was playing Ahsoka Tano, which I think is brilliant. I think if I were going to cast someone as Ahsoka Tano, the first person I would think of is Rosario Dawson. And the fact that that's happening is insane. But I do see where these fans were coming from, where they said, hey, Ashley Eckstein's played this character for years. Why don't we have her play Ahsoka? And for me, that it would never have occurred to me because Ashley Eckstein is a voiceover actress, you know? And the interesting thing about Bo-Katan is that Katie Sackhoff is primarily a film actress, so like film and TV actress. So having her step into the live action role is a no-brainer, and pretty incredible, and just works so seamlessly and so wonderfully. But I don't feel like it would have worked that well for Ashley Eckstein. I feel like Rosario Dawson is absolutely the right choice. It remains to be seen. We haven't seen the character on screen yet, but yeah,
But we're excited.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? Were you upset at all about that controversy? Some people were very upset that Ashley Eckstein was not cast as Ahsoka.
I didn't mind. I mean, I fell in love with her voice as Ahsoka Tano through Clone Wars and through Rebels. So I think she's a brilliant actress, a voiceover actress for Ahsoka. But I agree with the choice for Rosario Dawson, just because as an actress, I think she's a perfect fit for, I think, the Ahsoka that we're going to see in this part of the canon. Like where we're coming into her story. She's a lot older. A lot has happened in her journey by this time. And I think for those of us who've watched Rebels, I think she is Fulcrum or has been Fulcrum by this point. Or will be. No, she has to have been Fulcrum by this point. So,
yeah, that was revealed at the end of season 2, and that happened before episode 4. So definitely well before this in the timeline for sure. Zoe Kravitz would have been a good choice as well. That's very true. Zoe Kravitz is awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
Yeah. So Ahsoka's been like hardcore involved in the Rebel Alliance, and it's gonna be so cool to see like where she's at now. I mean, that might happen next week. You know, it seems like that's where they're headed. Maybe they get sidelined on the way. I'll be pissed if that happens. If I don't get Ahsoka next week, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, I'm ready. You name dropped her. You said you're heading to her planet. If she doesn't show up next week, I'm gonna be like, not another side quest with spiders, please. Please give me Ahsoka. Yeah.
I gotta fill a whole season, so maybe. But yeah, I mean, even having not watched Clone Wars, I feel like I know enough of the backstory, having read things and gotten spoilers over time, that I feel like this was the right choice. because she's older. She's gone through a lot since the shows have finished, and she's not going to be, the child that everyone kind of watched grow up over the seasons of everything. So she's going to be a lot more of a presence, and a different actress, I think, was the right choice. No matter who they chose, I think bringing something new and fresh was the right choice. Whereas Bo-Katan is kind of still on her quest to, unite the people, and she hasn't changed terribly much from what I know. We might find something totally different, and maybe I'm missing something from not having watched Clone Wars. But I don't know. I'm not mad about their choices.
Yeah, me neither. And yeah, I mean, Bo-Katan, it's interesting because this is, I actually looked this up. This is 28 years after her appearance on Clone Wars, I think. So the character has to be almost 50, or at least, I mean, right around 50, I would say. And it's funny because Katie Sackhoff looks exactly like Bo-Katan when she was first introduced, when she was like maybe 20-ish years old or something. But I'm not mad at it because Katie Sackhoff doesn't age. Like, she's an ageless
she's eternal
person. Yeah. Like, she might be, she's got to be at least in her 40s, but I feel like it's totally
she's
fine.
Probably about that age in their life. Like, the actress feels about that right age to be portraying someone,
Yeah, I feel like
for a minute.
she could portray someone 10 years younger or 10 years older, just depending on...
Yeah.
Like, because she is ageless. Yeah. But Joe said something in chat, and someone else said this earlier also, that the prediction is that episode 5 will be Ahsoka Tano's introduction because that one's directed by Dave Filoni, whereas episode 4 is directed by Carl Weathers, who plays Griff. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Griff Targa? Is that his name? I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that's a really...
Grief Targa.
It's close.
Grief. Thank you. Grief Targa.
Yeah, Grief. There it
yes,
is.
That's
Grief.
it. I knew that was wrong.
I was like, that's almost it.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. But I'm hoping that we at least get the introduction of Ahsoka. Like, maybe we have to chase her through the woods or something and pin her down.
Yeah, maybe she's no longer at that planet that...
I just want to see her. I just want to see her. Yeah. Give me her backstory in the next episode. But like, if we don't see her at all in episode 4, I'm going to be so disappointed. I'm ready.
I mean, y'all, the ship is falling apart. He might not make it to that planet.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, he can't go on a goose chase all over the galaxy. It's just not going to make it.
Yeah, you know how they say that. You know how they say that your body like replenishes all of its cells every 8 years or something like that? So that like every 8 years, you're basically a completely different person than you were 8 years ago. Because your cells have all like died and been replaced. But that's what's happening to the Razor Crest. Like, it is dying and being replaced by Mon Calamari garbage. So I thought he was going to have to get a new ship in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, the Mon Calamari said he was going to make it fly. He said, I'll make it fly. I can't fix it. I'll make it fly. I'll fill it up if it gets the whole fuel. And that's it. Fly.
He kept his word. Well, in the last episode, when the guys in the X-Wings were chasing him, and he was all like, this is I can't remember what he said, but something about the, like, history of the ship, like a pre-imperial something Razor Crest, so I can't broadcast certain identifying markers, or I can't remember what he said, but like, at what point is he not going to be able to get replacement parts for this old like specialized ship that they're not making anymore?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to get some 3D printed parts for space? Like, I don't know.
I just miss Quill. I really wish Quill was still around. Quill would fix that ship better. Yeah.
When I rewatch episode 8, I still am like, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll make it to the ship.
Oh, I know, it's horrible. Yeah, when you rewatch something where you really want the outcome to change. Like when I watch the Serenity movie, I'm like, You can make it this time. No spoilers.
But he died free. Quill, they didn't catch him, and he didn't, get put back into Imperial slavery, and he went out kind of fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how he would have wanted to go. He was free man.
Joe says, did you know the Mon Calamari was the actress that did the voice of the female lead character in Star Wars Battlefront 2? I did not know that. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a little nitpick about this episode. So we get to see the Mon Calamari and the Quirin. Is that what they're called? Quirrell something? Quarren?
Quarren, I think.
The Quarren, yeah, that other aquatic species. Well, they both come from the same world, and we see they're like infighting in Clone Wars in a string of really silly episodes that I did not care for at all. But but it was cool to see those two species working on this planet together, the estuary moon of Trask. But it drove me a little bit crazy that we're on this like fishing port, and all of these aliens are wearing like knit sweaters and like plastic overalls and
silly.
Like exactly what humans would wear if they worked at a fishing port. They do that a lot in Star Wars, where they kind of translate human qualities onto the aliens to kind of make it more recognizable for the human viewer that like, yes, this is an aquatic planet and they wear knit sweaters. But for me, it's like, that's just so on the nose. It drives me a little crazy.
So I have a theory about that. In biology, there's a thing called convergent evolution, which if you look it up, you'll probably see things about crabs because nature has has actually evolved crabs from different lines, different species, completely not related at all, has made the same like body shape over and over and over again, just on this one planet. And that's because it's efficient. And it's like, okay, well, you're going to take this shape with these legs and these pinchers and the shell, the keratin, because it's the easiest, most energy efficient thing for nature to produce to survive. But I think that can be portrayed in sci-fi with like, okay, not just different species, but also like clothing and language and space travel. And it's like, yeah, just because we've seen something on Earth doesn't mean that it's not possible for it to evolve similarly elsewhere. So I know they're just trying to tell a story, and they're just using what they got in Hollywood, and that happens to be cable knit sweaters and like, raincoats. But it's not totally making me suspend, or not. It's not breaking me out of the story. I'm thinking, okay, convergent evolution of sweaters.
Yeah,
it's cold in this place. They're probably gonna wear something like a sweater. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
long story short, crabs.
It's a pet peeve of mine because I just crave like alien vistas, and I just crave that sort of creativity in sci-fi. And so often everything just looks like the woods in Vancouver, because like that's like where all these shows are shot.
Like everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, they like the original trilogy did an incredible job of going to different places on Earth to make it look like different planets, because that's what they could do back in the 70s and 80s. But we have a digital set, people. We can program in anything. Why are we programming places that look just like Earth? We are past that point. We can do it, We have the technology. Give me the crazy alien vistas and the weird planets and like that. Remember during the, Order 66 sequence in Revenge of the Sith, that one Jedi who was struck down on that beautiful planet with the huge crazy mushroom top things? Like, let's go to that planet.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that stuff in live action.
Or like some Cloud City action.
Yeah, Cloud City's the perfect example. Like that felt like such an alien world. And they didn't even show the planet. They just show pink clouds, We don't have pink clouds. So like just change the color of the sky, change the color of the water. Just do something to make it more alien. Star Trek Discovery's been doing a really good job of that this season, which they've done some like digital painting onto their Earth, locations to kind of make it feel more alien. But with the digital set, like the shackles are off on Mandalorian. They can do anything in the universe, and I wish that they'd choose to do more outside of just looking like Earth.
That's real. I think that's a healthy critique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much.
It's like animation. Yeah. Animation,
totally.
You can do anything because you're not constrained by physics or budget so much. So yeah, maybe we'll see more some crazy stuff in the later episodes.
Yeah, we're going to a forest world to find Ahsoka.
Exactly. I was just gonna say another forest planet. Like, well, it's all right.
Well, if it looks like Vancouver, I'll be bummed. But if it's like, different trees, something that looks otherworldly, I'll be so stoked. Like a purple forest with like crazy red branches or something. Yeah, mushroom trees. Yeah. I'm into the mushroom trees. Hard to get in Stardew Valley, but very exciting when they grow. Yeah, I love it. I love it though. I mean, this episode, like, it's so that those are the nitpicks. I'm already done. Those are my only nitpicks. Like, everything looked too much like Earth, and it was too short. I just wished it was longer. And wishing that something is too short is a compliment. It's not even like a nitpick. It's just like, this thing was so good, I wish there was more. And it was short. I mean, it was only like half an hour long, and that's short. But they didn't. Yeah. I appreciate when a storyteller is like, okay, this is how much time I need to tell this story. It would be superfluous to add in anything else. Let's not waste the viewer's time. Let's just give them exactly the right amount for this story. And it just like, I've watched it twice already, and it's infinitely entertaining. I'm sure I'll watch it many more times. Just such a great, like, Star Wars chapter. I love it so much.
Even just thinking about the details, because even when it's that short, I feel like I'm soaking everything in. Like, the second time I watched it, I was just kind of like really trying to look at the things that my eye doesn't catch the first time. Because I feel like when I'm watching something for the first time, I'm just kind of focusing on where the action is taking me and not necessarily looking at every background piece. But like the second time, I can kind of not focus on the main part of the action and look at the background and look at, other characters in the scene and, people who maybe aren't speaking. And it was just like, it's just so intentional. And I really like admire storytellers who are so intentional, even in just the cinematography and the way it was shot. Like, I felt like it was a very rich episode, even though it was not super long. And then we can just tell that Baby Yoda's growing up a little bit. His awareness or their awareness is very distinct. Like, I love the scene, the babysitting scene, where like he's like looking into the glass container of all the baby tadpoles, and then when you come back and they're like, the baby tadpole's having a bath, I was like, okay, so this is literally a puppet alien scene. Like, everyone in this scene of this whole shot is just a puppet playing with another puppet. Like, I was just like, what am I watching right now? Like, I just made me so happy to see Baby Yoda playing with the little baby tadpole in the bath. I'm like, what? We had time in this short episode for that moment? Like, that's not. Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, a little reenactment there. Little recap. Yeah.
Like, they had time to do that cute little dad's back to pick you up from babysitting. Like, I didn't eat any more of their babies, Dad. I was good. I was on my best behavior, like you said. Like, it was just like, what is this episode? I am so happy.
So towards the end of the episode, when they take off from Trask, we see the octopus-looking thing climbing up in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And then we see through its eyes. Is that a callback to some? I feel like that was something I was missing. Like, most of the episode, very accessible. I was like, okay, I don't need to know all the backstory. I know there's some stuff going on. I'm going to go back and get it. But I was like, do we know the picture from something? Is that an Easter egg?
Nothing that I know of. Okay. I was wondering if that was a baby of the giant monster that tried to eat Baby Yoda.
It did seem like they were trying to like bookend it. Like, here's the big one, and then this one's like, and then that scene was crazy. when that Mon Calamari fisherman like kicked Baby Yoda out over that monster, and like they're like, we're gonna kill the baby and we're gonna kill the Mandalorian and then take his armor. I'm just thinking about the fact that like walking around wearing Beskar is like
really ballsy, you know? And it's so
Like a
cool.
target.
Yeah, because on one hand, it's like the most valuable metal in the galaxy, but on the other hand, it's valuable because it's the best armor. Like, Mando can just walk out into a hallway full of lasers and take a whole bunch of hits and survive.
Like it's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a cool story point that wherever he goes, people are going to try to kill him and take his armor, but he is just like such a good warrior that he just lives with that, you know? And he's still alive. Yeah.
His what's it called? The Phoenix, the Order of the Phoenix, his backpack with jets. It works underwater. Did we know that those work underwater? Because when he was down there in the cage with the monster and his thing was working. So I thought that was pretty cool little detail to throw in there. Like, oh, he could be a little submarine man.
Yeah. Joe pointed out that face hugger Easter egg with Baby Yoda soup, which, yes, when that little squid grabs Baby Yoda's face, it does look just like a face hugger for a second. Sam says one scene I really think they could have fleshed out was before he flies away when the other Mandalorians tell him that he's in a cult. And I totally hear you. I wish we'd gotten more there, but I feel like this is something they are going to be fleshing out for the rest of the series. You know, this idea that
he's gonna have to deal with it.
That Din Djarin is in like a cult and he doesn't even know it, which is so cool. It's just so good because like how would he know? You know, like he's been brought up by these people who just feed him these beliefs, and they're, you know, he's lived in these coverts his whole life. How would he know that like this, you know, way of thinking that has kept him alive and was part of, you know, what gave him a life? How would he know that it's not the only way of thinking? He wouldn't. So it's great. It's really wonderful. I can't wait. And Axon Justin says, makes me wonder, was Phasma wearing Beskar? That is really interesting. And that makes me wonder.
Yes.
Hello.
I think her
Andy's
armor
here.
was
Did you want to come
mentioned
say
in
hi?
Something else.
Andy's going to pop in and say hi. Let me get you some headphones.
I think she had something else.
Oh, no. I know what her armor was made of. I just remembered this. It was
like
it was the ship from Naboo that in episode 1 that Padme flew around in. That silver ship.
Yeah.
Phasma's armor's made out of that ship. Okay. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
So we don't have a seat for you. You want to sit in my lap?
Yeah. Hi. Hold on. Oh my God, Baby Yoda. Oh my God, we have a guest star.
Here, come on in.
Wow. You need more lap. Okay, here we are. Oh my God, that is accurate. That thing is very real.
It's really good, and he's got a little gear shifter to hold on to with the magnet, but the magnet keeps coming out. That's like the one piece that's not. It's a little loose. I got to glue it. But
oh my God, that's amazing.
Andy, what's your quick review of episode 3?
It's gone.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to remember what happened. Okay. Oh, okay. The eggs, I was glad that we kind of really followed the rest of that storyline, because I was thinking it was very easy. It would have been easy for the show to kind of just move on to the next adventure, because that's kind of the rhythm of the show. Typically it's like, and then you see how they all connect in the end. But, so that was good. I wanted to know what happened to those eggs. And that was a really cute little frog baby. It was so sweet. And I was glad that Yoda didn't eat it.
We're friends. He's like, oh, my friend, my buddy.
I know. Oh, and what else happened?
We met the other Mandalorians who told...
Oh, yes! Oh my God, yes. Sorry, it's been a long week. But, right. Yes, we did. And I thought that was a really brilliant take. And it didn't even occur to me that he was in a very, observant or ancient sect of the Mandalore. I mean, that's sort of Mandalorian lore. But Mandalore lore. But yeah, so there's that. And Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's right. I was having a hard time following why he got on that ship to begin with and why he let Baby Yoda hang over the tank. Like that seemed, I feel like for a character that's shown to have really incredible instincts about who to trust and not, I think it surprised me that he wasn't more dubious on that ship.
Yeah. Yeah, they told him they were taking him to other Mandalorians.
Right, but to just sort of trust them that much, it surprised me. I surprised he didn't have his cards closer to his vest on the ship and, wasn't more like having the kid really stick near him and I don't know.
Yeah, Baby Yoda was like across the fishing, I don't know, whatever, the cargo hold in that ship, like not right next to him. So that was a little overconfident of him.
Yeah. Oh, Sam made a good point. Sam says he thought he was being led to other Mandalorians, and since he was so close to his goal, he was getting careless. Yeah, that's interesting. It's like, as you get further along your journey and you can taste it, you can smell it, you stop being as cautious. Yeah.
Luckily, they were there.
Yes, I know. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know. I also was just like, wow. It was really interesting to see him helpless in that scenario because we have just seen him come from 2 episodes ago, like come out of the belly of a dragon. So it's kind of like, wow, this is going to be the thing that takes you down without help, But I guess he wasn't anticipating it. And that was part of the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it was such a good episode. I just really can't wait for the next one. It's so exciting to like I'm so glad this show doesn't dump all at once and they go week to week because like living with this anticipation is so fun.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's been a really interesting pattern so far this season where the beginning of each episode is kind of like a little coda of the previous episode where we see like episode 2 starts, he's still on Tatooine and he's walking back from the Krayt Dragon site and he's got Boba Fett's armor finally. And then this episode starts off where he's finally landing on Trask, but his ship's all beat up from, the Krykna ice spider things. So it's really interesting. I wonder if they're going to keep up that trend of starting the next episode with basically a previously on, but as part of the story.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, do we have any more thoughts on this episode? I know B already gave it a 10. Jane, what would you rate it? Oh, you rated it a 10. Yeah, you said 10 already.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy?
This
what do you think?
This was peak TV.
I give it, I guess a 10. I mean, I don't really know what else I would have wanted.
Yeah. I give it a 9.5 because
I was like, he's gonna say 9.5
because the first episode of the season was a more complete experience, and I think a lot of that had to do with its length, and like what I talked about earlier with it being so literal, like it's a fishing village on another planet and they're all wearing knit sweaters, just like very literal representation of a fishing village, and I felt like they could have done something different with that. And yeah, it is short, and I do want a little bit more, and I wonder if they had fleshed out a couple of things, would it have felt more like a complete experience? Because it feels like the most exciting transition you've ever seen. It definitely feels like a transitional episode.
Sure.
But it was, every moment of it was awesome. Like I loved every single moment of it. So I can't rate it as high as episode 1 with the Krayt Dragon. That was a better episode, so I got to knock it down to 9.5.
Interesting. Yeah.
9.5 is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Convergent evolution of sweaters is all I'm saying.
That was a really great picture that you painted with that description. I was I'm totally, like, I see it.
Totally.
Like, okay, yes. But, like, I think there's a lot to be said about pace in an episode and about tone. And I feel like that was a big part of the goal with the length of this, because I feel like amazing stories can be told in a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. You have a very intentional pieces that you want to hit, like tone and pace and intention and like stakes. Like the stakes were super high a lot, like throughout the whole episode. Just like Sam was mentioning with like getting reckless because he's getting so close to his goal of wanting to find, other Mandalorians, but also get Baby Yoda to, his people. I feel like there was a kind of an energy that was very palpable throughout that was very effective.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, like, with you talking about Jesse, like him realizing that he's in a cult, like who actually is left? Because after season 1, like a lot of them were killed. Like a lot of them died. Like the what's the lady, what can I think of, who makes the armor, what's the
armorer
name,
Armorer.
The armorer, yeah. Like she's still there, but who else is left? Who else is
totally.
Who else in the cult is left?
Yeah, and if this cult is gone, more and more chance that like maybe if he gets integrated into the Mandalorian culture with Bo-Katan, and maybe he starts taking his mask off, and we get to see some of that beautiful Pedro Pascal. I want that very badly. I really want that.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I really hope that happens.
Yeah, I am curious to see where they go with this idea that there are different I wonder if there will be other sects that they explore.
Yeah. Because Bo-Katan is house or clan Kreese?
Kreese,
yeah.
Kreese. She's clan
Kreese. There's definitely a few different ones.
Yeah, I'm curious about their
is a
world.
very important one.
Yeah.
House of Ren, Sabine Wren's house.
Yeah.
She had the Darksaber before Bo-Katan did. So, there's some. I wonder what houses are left after all that's happened so far in this story. Like, what houses are still standing? What clans are still together?
Right.
Yeah. It's going to be so exciting to find out. All right, y'all. Well, we talked about that episode for twice as long as the episode is, so I feel like we did a good job. Star Wars Club will be back next week, probably Sunday. We were supposed to do Sunday this week. That was my fault. We had to reschedule to Monday. But in general, I think Sundays still work for us, but we'll let y'all know. You can join my Discord. There's a link in the description. That's where I announce things. Joe asked about Sci-Fi Mario Maker levels. There have not been any Sci-Fi Mario Maker 2 levels yet, but I did, in case anyone doesn't know, I did start a new gaming channel, so I'm moving all of my gaming content onto that channel. Just search for Jesse Mercury Gaming on YouTube and you can find it. Anything that anyone else wants to plug or share before we wrap up tonight?
No. There's not much else going on.
Nothing.
Awesome. Well, it was...
Yeah. Keep your eyes on the Georgia runoffs.
Excuse me?
Keep your eyes on the Georgia runoffs.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said Jar Jar something, and I was like...
If anybody is in Georgia...
Yeah, that's right.
Sure, you go.
Yes.
There we go.
The Senate.
Yes.
The Galactic Senate.
The Galactic Senate. Exactly.
Yeah. Jar Jar Wren of House Wren. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Right before we started streaming tonight, I watched that Clone Wars episode where Jar Jar is in love with that queen from that other planet, and you get to see Jar Jar kiss someone, and it was not what I expected it would be. Let's just say that.
When you think about
Jar Jar in love.
Someone...
I don't know why Clone Wars insists on bringing Jar Jar back every year, but they do it.
We can leave it behind.
Yes. All right, everyone in chat, thank you so much for being here. So sorry we got such a late start today, but it was awesome hanging out with y'all. I love doing this every week. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys so much.
Yay.
Have an amazing week. Go watch the episode, the new one. I can't wait. Give us some Ahsoka, please. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.